Welcome back to another episode of Startup Theory. We got homeboy Eric
How's it going, guys?
and showboy Jack yet again. We are corresponding with you all on April 22nd, 2020. It's been probably
Crazy few weeks.
Yeah, it's been probably honestly a couple weeks since we did our last show, but we're back and better than ever, baby. And so, yeah, of course, we're going to kind of do some chats on coronavirus and the post-coronavirus economy and kind of how we're navigating the waters ourselves, kind of, philosophy and entrepreneurship moving on from here. And yeah, just kind of some cool nuggets of course, things have changed really for a while in business. And so we're sensitive to that, and we're kind of just trying
It's a different land out there now. It's
Totally.
crazy how much coronavirus just came out of nowhere. It felt like.
Yeah.
It really did. I mean,
No,
it was only
totally.
a few months, but now everything's just changed from it.
Yeah.
You can tell while we're just sitting at home, not doing anything. Thinking about the lasting impact of this.
Yeah,
It's
totally.
crazy. Just
and and that's kind of something to kind of I don't know, relieve you all and us for that matter. Like, it's nobody's fault this happened. It's not like this.
some people don't think that.
Well, I mean, I think that it's also like nobody could, maybe to put it this way, there's hardly any way that anybody could have really prepared for it. So it's almost like you can't really beat yourself up a whole lot
Yeah.
for not seeing this coming, because no one saw it coming.
On a
you know?
personal level, on an individual level, for sure.
Yeah,
There's
right.
nothing we could have done.
I mean, yes, of course. I mean, there are things like, save your money, like the tropes that people always bring up for stuff like this. That said, nobody could have predicted what happened
Yeah.
and what's happening right now. And I mean, it's still early stage with it all. So we just kind of wanted to spend this episode just kind of talk about different strategies we're seeing, other folks that are doing well and navigating the ecosystem of business in a positive way. Kind of predictions we see would be a good way to, make moves yourself. And yeah, that's kind of how we're going to get started. So we'll just kind of crack into our topics moving so far. So, I mean, I think one of the biggest ones, and this is sort of, this is an overarching theme for a lot of stuff that we're going to chat about today, is how e-commerce is here to stay. Like, e-commerce is definitely, if it wasn't clear before, it should be abundantly clear now that e-commerce is the future of commerce.
Yeah.
Like,
it's been evolving for 10, 15, 20 years
right,
now.
totally.
But I think when you can't go to the store, you can't have more than 10 people in a store. When you're forced to shop online, I think it's really crazy how much e-commerce has really just proved to be a vital, essential service.
Totally. And how retail isn't going to be able to weather this storm nearly as well as an e-commerce brand would be able to, for really the sole reason that there's going to be less people going to stores.
I mean, I think
know?
really the shift in perspective from the consumer was e-commerce was a luxury. It's like,
Right,
I could not go to the store. I could
Right.
just go to Amazon and order this and get it in Prime and get it tomorrow.
Yep.
Or the next day even. Or, maybe 5
Yep.
days, whatever. But
Right.
it was a luxury. But not a necessity. And
Right.
then now it's become like an essential way
Yeah.
to shop.
Totally.
And I think people are still going to shop like that.
Yep.
So I think, that being said, if you're not thinking about an online business
Right.
in the next 5 to 10 years, or
You're
at least
thinking the
working
wrong
at
way.
a company that has an online asset to it, way to
Yeah.
sell products online.
Right.
I mean, and this is just the obvious. I think everyone's really realized that now,
Yep.
that it's different. You need to be able to work on the go and really be able to ship to customers.
Totally. And I mean, it goes back to topics that we brought up in the past, where e-commerce is a way that you can start small from an early stage. So if you're trying to launch into retail, you're going to have to be in a lot of places really quick, which is going to take a lot of money. So you can
Yeah.
do it leanly in the e-commerce ecosystem. And so, I mean, it's exciting, in the past having an e-commerce brand, and then you with a full-blown e-commerce brand,
Yep.
it's, but we're already starting to see, the chips fall. Like, Neiman Marcus declared bankruptcy already. Obviously, they were a pretty tired department store in the first place, but Neiman Marcus, it's sort of a higher end clothing retailer. So they'll have Polo, Nautica, Ralph Lauren, stuff like that. I mean, that's in menswear. But stores like Macy's, stores like Nordstrom, stores like Kohl, maybe not Kohl's because they're a little bit more budget, but those stores are, they're next in the retail space.
They got to go online.
They've got to get their product online and pivot. And I mean, luckily there are, omni-channel retailers like Walmart, for example. Walmart, Target, even Dick's Sporting Goods have robust
Pickup.
e-commerce platforms.
Honestly, to me, it's been super impressive how brick and mortar,
Yeah,
all these stores have been able to adapt to have pickup options and
Yep.
order online options.
totally.
I think it's amazing. I'm seeing all these stores that, it seemed like they were ancient, and now they're adapting with pickup orders and, being able to submit your order online
Yeah.
and get it shipped to you when you normally couldn't.
Yep.
And it's been really amazing to see, like,
Well,
people
dude,
adapting.
on that note, I mean, I know this is kind of a topic we wanted to bring up a little bit later, but while we're on the subject of stores that are doing pickup, Dick's Sporting Goods is doing, you can order products online at Dick's
Yeah, I
Sporting
saw
Goods.
that.
And dude, the amount of weights that they have been selling from pickup. So I myself have been like buying and reselling gym equipment in the meantime because so many people are doing home gym
Yeah, you're telling me
setups.
about this, yeah.
Dude, like you can, they've got their machine going well. Like you place an order online if you're lucky because there's so much demand for products like
Yeah,
this.
I went there to try and get some resistance bands,
Right.
so I could do some stuff at home, and
Yeah.
they were completely sold out.
Right. Yeah, and if you want to get it, you would have to be like a ninja to order stuff. But anyway, that's beside the point on the the pivotability of these retail chains is that you show up to Dick's, you show them your receipt on your phone, they get somebody that delivers it right to your car, and there's 4 more people in line behind you that are ready to do so. So I mean, some retailers have their act together. I mean, some retailers that have the demand for
But the question is,
necessities in the
though,
first place.
do you think that those pickups are equivalent to foot traffic sales? Because I imagine that they're still losing
Sure.
sales.
Yeah. No.
There's
they've
no
gotta
way
be.
those pickups are equal.
Yeah.
So I think
totally.
it's like it's helping,
Yeah.
but there's still a wound there, and I think you're not going to be able to
No,
compare
it's a
foot
good point.
traffic,
Yeah,
'cause they
it's still
probably
not
get-
going to pay the rent.
No,
And
yeah.
that's kind of an interesting thing too, related to restaurants. Like, there's a lot of high-end restaurants that aren't even bothering to stay open because even if they did to go, it wouldn't cover their insane expenses that they have
It would
already.
just drag it out, yeah.
Right, and so
That's interesting.
it is interesting, and I mean, restaurants are going to be another really, really hard hit industry because they already are selling product at a razor thin margin. And honestly, like, in a way, it's not necessarily like the restaurant owner's fault that their shit is so expensive. Like, especially in a place like San Diego, like, their rent is so goddamn expensive in the first place.
I know,
It's like
yeah.
their staff is expensive, the place that the building they built is expensive.
That's what
like,
was crazy. Like,
Yeah.
some businesses closed within the first 2 weeks of not
Right.
having people in, or first week even.
Right.
And so it really shows, like, what was the Warren Buffett quote when the
Oh, yeah.
tide goes out?
You realize how many people were swimming naked.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. So, it's definitely going to be a bummer because with this like reopen, it's not just going to reopen out of nowhere. Like, it's going to be a measured, gradual reopen, and you're going to go to a restaurant and it's going to be at 30 to 50% capacity of what it should be.
Yeah.
So that's not going to make the restaurant the amount of money that they need to cover their expenses because they need to have that full capacity as best they can to pay their bills. So it'll be interesting. And I mean, like, I was speaking to a friend today about, nightlife, like when the bars are going to reopen. And I'm like, dude, even when the bars reopen, it's going to be just like waiting in line at Trader Joe's. Like, you're going to have to be waiting in line outside 6 feet apart from somebody. They're only going to be able to
Yeah, it won't
allow
be the
like
same.
60 people in at a time. And I mean, dude, like, you think chicks are afraid of people coming and hitting on them regularly? Like, you're going to have this just like cloud of, do you have corona? Like, all the time.
Yeah.
So like, what's the point?
Well,
Why-
on that note,
Yeah.
so okay, this is what Andrew and I have been discussing.
Yeah.
Is will they have a certification where if you've had it,
Sure.
then you can do certain things,
Right.
Where it's like
Yep.
verified.
I think that's going down in South Korea and Taiwan.
yeah,
right
that's
now.
kind of been a topic.
Yep.
So
Yep.
like, if let's say that were a thing, then do you think there's a couple hundred people that are certified that are
yeah,
gonna go and it's
you know
like
what?
back to normal for them?
That would, yeah.
or is it
right.
still weird?
Right. No, I think that it will be. I hope that it'll be like a little bit back to normal there. That's like so, like weird futurism thinking in a good way. I mean, like, it's definitely I listened to a podcast recently where it's, you know, back in the day, folks had like chicken pox parties, so their kids could get chicken pox.
Yeah, I've
and,
heard of those.
you know, and so like maybe shit like that might go down with COVID, where it's like, but I think there's still so much little known.
Yeah, people will
about-
definitely try and get it.
Right.
If that's the thing.
Right. So anyway, I don't want to get too off on a tangent of sort of like, you know, social things that are going on right now while we're still in this business lens. But going back to what we were talking about with how retail's forever changed, and it's more apparent than ever that launching an e-commerce business is the right move.
Yeah, I think
Whether
the
it's an
mindset you need
e-commerce
to be
business
in.
or a service.
I think all you can do at this stage is think like, what's going to be the new normal in 2 years,
Right.
and how can I start building towards that?
Right.
You can't really build anything based on the next 6 months, you know,
Right.
unless you're kind of going
Totally.
for like a quick trend grab, you know,
Sure.
face masks or something like that.
Right.
That might be different, but I think the best thing you can do is just think, what's 2 years from now? What's going to be the
Yep.
new normal?
Right.
And that definitely involves e-commerce. So I think
Yep.
you know that's really proven to be a reliable source of income for, you know, a lot of Americans. It's pretty interesting though how many people have been able to work remotely and work from home,
Sure.
and how
Right.
much
Fortunate
e-commerce
enough
has
to,
really
yeah.
like
Allowed
put
that to
America on its
happen.
back. Yeah,
Totally. No, it's absolutely
We've
true.
just adapted.
I mean, I think trends that'll be happening like long term, like you said on that 2-year thing, is like, you know, cleanliness. That's going to be huge. Like
Yeah, definitely.
people's behaviors and habits are changing to be cleaner. So anything that has to do with that space.
I think another thing that's really going to change and that's been going on is like the amount of content that people are watching. Like,
Sure.
how much more have you been on your phone?
Yeah. Yeah.
I know
a
I've been
lot.
on my phone a lot
Totally.
more recently, you know, like when
Totally.
you're just stuck at home, there's only so many things you can do, right? So I've been on my phone a lot more, and I've just been noticing a lot of companies increasing their content output, including Shredlights. You know, we've been trying
Yep.
to get more stuff out there. You know, it's really interesting. And I think that's going to really
Yeah.
prove to
That's the new experience. That's the new customer experience, is like great rich content that they can experience from home.
It's great brand building. Like,
Sure.
I think through this coronavirus, I've seen a lot of companies going live with their athletes.
nice.
And
Yep.
doing, you know, Q&As with their founders. I watched a really cool one the other day with
Yeah, live's huge right now.
One Wheel. Yeah, they did the interview with their founder, and I think it's really just like it's really decreasing the gap between companies and customers,
Yeah.
because everyone's kind of in this together.
Yeah. Right.
And so when the company's not, you know, trying to just sell you stuff, but they are trying to just give you free content that's entertaining you,
Right.
it's kind of like, hey, check this out. Let's get through this together. You know, we're just
Yeah.
trying to stay positive. There's nothing we can do, but I think it's really like an opportunity for brands to
Because
decrease that
with,
gap.
I mean, it goes hand in hand with e-commerce. Content goes hand in hand with e-commerce and selling things
Well,
online.
absolutely, yeah.
And so, you know, on
When you can, you know, watch the videos, read the blogs, and buy the product all in the same place,
right.
that's how you do it.
Yeah, no, it's a super. So, I mean, that's another kind of like neat thing from like a startup theory perspective, like developing skills around content creation, like utilizing this time
Definitely,
to
yeah.
make it yourself. And you know, it's okay if it sucks at first, but like slowly.
That's a
building
great
your way
point.
up.
Yeah, I think that's something that anyone can do is just go
Right.
make, like my brother, for example, he's
Uh-huh.
he's a teacher actually in Minneapolis. Shout out Ryan.
Yeah.
And so he's obviously not working right now at school, so he's
Right.
doing as much as he can remotely.
Right.
But for Earth Day, he made this fun video where he like went for a bike ride and
Uh-huh.
talked about, you know, the importance of Earth Day and stuff.
Yep.
And he was able to like email it out to all of his class, and it was cool. He
Sick.
sent it to me, so I was like
Yeah.
stoked to see it.
Yeah.
And he's like never made a video like that before.
Right.
So it's cool to see that he
Right.
had to like, you know, step up and, you know,
Yep.
maybe he's uncomfortable to make it or something, but
Sure.
he did. And, you know, it's cool that he's connecting with the students now. And now that he's like, okay, like I think I can make another video.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
now it's like a new outlet and a
It's
new way
exciting
for him
for
to
him.
connect. Yeah.
Totally.
And like obviously, so they're fifth graders this class, and
Uh-huh.
obviously like they want to watch videos.
Yeah,
It's like way more
sure.
natural to them.
Right.
So
Right.
now it's like
They're all
yeah.
digitally native now. That next
Yeah.
generation, they know how to press play on YouTube and the whole nine, search
Yeah.
things.
I think what's
Um,
really cool about the, you know, not sorry, let me rephrase that. It's not cool. But one of the aspects of the social distancing is putting video in much more of a light as a tool
Okay.
versus like
What do you mean?
like a talent.
Ah,
Like
Sure.
you know, we're using Zoom, we're using all these different video resources
Uh-huh.
now, and people are making their own videos,
Right.
and teachers are figuring out how to teach classes, and companies are, you know, everyone's like learning how to use that muscle, and
Yeah.
it's like video is a tool, and people can do really crazy things with it,
Mm-hmm.
but everyone can do something with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
Sure.
it's really coming to light now.
Right.
And that's what I
Yeah.
love about film. That's what I always tell people when they're getting started is it's a tool. And think of it like that. What story are you going to tell? What are you going to do with it?
Right.
And people are doing cool stuff right now.
Yep. No, it's so true, and it's a necessity for creating content. You need to have video content.
Yeah, no matter what you're trying to do, if you're trying to start any business, online or brick and mortar, you have to be able to do some level of content creation in-house.
Right.
Maybe you have a big product launch and you're going to outsource that. Great. That can work really, really well. You don't need to have everything in-house,
Sure.
but you need to be able to make basic, videos,
Totally.
be able to shoot some basic photos,
Yep.
and you have to be able to do that in-house, or you're gonna be stuck in the water. Not even from a financial perspective,
Sure.
just from time.
Yeah.
Like you're never
Absolutely.
gonna be able to get off the ground, always having to find someone to do that stuff for you.
Right. Totally. Because people are going to be busy. I mean, on that note too, like freelance videographers have probably got a lot of work right now to create content and things like that.
Yes and no. I
Okay.
mean, what happened is a lot of videographers that are already lined up contracts and everything.
Uh-huh.
A lot of those had to. All of those fell through now and are canceled.
Wow. No way.
And so they're looking for a lot more
Dude, do you
these
know anybody?
opportunities. So there's kind of a narrow window of opportunity now.
Okay, gotcha.
And so yes, new people can get in, but the existing people now are kind of having to make different stuff and kind
Sure.
of refigure out what they're
Yeah.
doing.
Get new
Because
clients.
normally, you can go shoot with 20 people on set.
Yeah.
Or,
Sure.
you need to have different talent and stuff, but that's not okay right now.
Wow.
So now, the
Huh.
stuff you can shoot with few
How do you think
people,
that's going to
is different.
affect show business? People being on a set and being in
Oh,
close
I mean,
quarters
it'll
and
be.
stuff like that.
That's actually, that's a great topic. I mean, I think a lot of movies are going to be delayed. Obviously,
Yeah.
Tom Hanks got coronavirus on set
Right.
of theirs,
Right.
and so obviously,
That was
that's
on
going
a
to be a
set
few
of a
months.
movie.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, he got it from one of the crew members.
Wow.
Obviously, completely on accident. But
Wow.
yeah, so definitely a lot of upcoming movies that were supposed to come out in the next year or two will be delayed.
Yeah.
And then as far as live talk shows with live audiences,
Uh-huh.
that'll be. I guess they're not live, but live audiences at least. That'll be a while too. I think
Jeez. Wow. Yeah, man.
it's pretty crazy.
It is crazy. So anyway, video content king. Maybe not.
People are
But-
watching way more. So if you're
Yeah.
not trying to speak your message, then
Yeah, tell your
You better
story
start.
somehow. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, now's the time.
Yeah, and you can start small. I mean, that's what we're doing right now. We're shooting this on an iPhone right now, everybody. So seriously,
Yep.
we're just staying bare bones. Okay, so we kind of covered how important content is. Let's talk side hustles, bro. Let's talk how to
Alright.
make money on the side. So I'll start. So Bold Brew, we've moved on from Bold Brew, and I'm working on little freelance things right now. But one thing that I can't necessarily say that I am doing super, super well with, but my friend is doing super, super well with, and I know everybody's got a fucking friend everywhere. But,
Or
is...
an uncle.
Right,
Friend or an
exactly.
uncle.
Right. So, that said, one of my buddies is doing really well buying and reselling gym equipment, having a little side hustle, doing stuff like that. Another one, with folks that... This is sort of a little bit bigger than... I guess that's more related to our next topic, but reselling gym equipment. I was driving Uber Eats for a little bit. I kind of stopped that because I was a little bit concerned about exposure and exposing myself
Yep.
to a lot of different ways. But I mean, I'm doing some little freelance digital marketing stuff right now too, which I see a decent amount of business needed for. Not necessarily related directly to the coronavirus. I think a lot of the clients that I'm dealing with now would have contacted me regardless because they just needed something small, early
Yeah.
stage. But the gym equipment one is an example.
That one's really
of,
interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
that's definitely a hot trend right now. Everyone's trying to work out at home.
Right.
So I think, that's a really good example of
Right.
seizing this opportunity that's here.
Yes. So, I mean, I don't know if we're trying to brainstorm necessarily different startup hustles, side hustles, right now for you all, in the audience. But I mean, we'd love to hear from it. If you have any that you're working on, drop a comment, send us a
Yeah,
note.
I mean, I think a lot of people, definitely a lot of people got laid off or at least
Right.
can't work right now. And, not only are you bored, but it's always nice to have some extra cash. So I think,
Sure.
a lot of people are realizing that there could be other ways to make money remotely and stuff. Like
Right.
Even Uber Eats like that.
Sure.
That's a great way to do it.
Instacart.
Once things are a little more normal.
Yeah. There's an app.
How much were you making like a month doing Uber Eats?
Uber Eats a month, if I was doing it like for 2 to 3 hours a night, 5 nights a week, I would make about $900 a month.
Okay, so that's like part-time hours.
Part-time, yeah. So I got pretty good tips because I was super friendly, and I would give people like a little piece of candy with every order. Ha ha ha. No, my trick was I gave people like a little mini Snickers every time.
Nice.
But anyway, with tips, I was making like $22 an hour or so, but not
Okay.
including gas and stuff like that.
And tax.
But anyway, like Uber Eats is a really solid one that I
So
think
$900
people
a
sleep
month,
on.
though. I mean, that's solid. I mean, you don't have to go make $900. You can go, make,
That's
make
right.
100, make 150, go get some groceries.
Totally, exactly, and you can do that like kind of on your own time with relatively little effort to get signed up. And there's
Yeah, you got a
Grubhub,
car.
DoorDash, and stuff like that, Instacart, and then I think there's a handful of things that
Another interesting one I think that a lot of people can do is copywriting.
sure, okay,
Like as a company, we always need more blogs and emails and like way to share our story.
uh-huh.
And I think, I mean, like writing blogs isn't insanely difficult.
Dude,
I think a lot
yeah.
of people could start writing blogs more.
I think a lot of people would be surprised on how many skills that they have that are sellable. So, for example,
That's a good point.
Nathan Resnick did a post on LinkedIn the other day, and he was like, most people think that you need, money to start your business. I'll tell you a business that you can start right now with $0. Walk down the street of any business area of your neighborhood, walk in the door and offer to do their social media for them and charge them $500 a month. Like, boom, that's a startup right there that costs zero money that you could instantly get paid like right in your pocket for. And I
You'd
guarantee
be a good
you,
salesman for that, but
well, I guarantee you that there are, if you went and audited like 10 businesses that are near your house, looked at their social media and like saw that it was not that good and
or
walked in
non-existent.
or non-existent, and you just walked in and they just see a young person that has
And like
some
even getting them set up on Google and stuff.
right, like having somewhat of ambition with a smile can go a long way to being the difference between idea and a startup.
Mhm.
Like, again, this is a good like practical example. We talked about Uber Eats and stuff like that, but that sometimes I can understand why people would be reluctant for things like that. Well, like this is a huge one right now that I'm doing. Luckily I've got a decent network where people are referring me business, so I don't necessarily have to go down the street and knock on doors. But if I didn't have business referrals and I was, had a contract with a client ending, I would absolutely go down my street and, on Garnett and find 1 or 2 businesses and just walk in and see who I can speak to. A lot of the times too, I mean, this is just from sales experience with Bold Brew and going into selling coffee in the stores. Like a lot of times you'll walk into a place and the person you need to talk to isn't there. Like you go in and you're like,
Yeah.
hi, I'd like to speak to the manager to sell myself. And they're like, oh, well, I'm just the cashier.
Yeah.
The boss is never in. They're only in on, Tuesdays at noon. And you're like, okay, cool. Like, can I get some contact information and when they'll be here next, and I'll be there then. And then you just show up the second time. Like it's not as easy as just walking right in.
Yeah.
Obviously, nothing is. But if you're persistent, you might be able to make something happen, and you would be surprised. You'd be
Social
surprised.
media management, that's a good one.
Social media management, just this video content media and stuff like that we're bringing up right now. It goes back to like what I said a second ago. You would be surprised on how many skills you already have just naturally being a young person
Mhm.
that are just completely out of the realm of possibility for people that are just a generation older than us.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's natural. It doesn't feel like a skill to us because
Yeah.
it's so natural.
Well, see, what you should have said is you'll go into these businesses and you'll manage their TikTok. And
Sure.
Then they'll really be confused. They'll be like,
Right. They'll be like, my clock? You're
Yeah.
a clock fixer?
What?
Yeah, exactly. Right. So I think that's a really screaming good suggestion for anybody out there that is getting a little bit worried about, how they're going to make their next dollar
yeah.
in this scenario right now. I think that obviously we brought it with Uber Eats, Instacart, and side hustle, things like that. Again, there's an app called Steady that's like a compiler of all of that. It consolidates all gig
Oh,
jobs
that's pretty
like that
sick.
under one roof. Yeah, really cool. It's like purple on the App Store with a big S. But being a little bit more kind of like startup theory about this bitch, walking into different retailers and small businesses in your area and doing a little bit of salesmanship and saying you'll run social media for $500 a month for them. $500 a month for a business like, that's got a brick and mortar spot is probably not that much. And so it's a decent
Right now, though,
sale.
it might be.
Yeah, I know. Might be a little different.
But it
now.
also might be. I think you could also sell that as like now that's the best way to reach customers.
Right.
If you're
Right.
if you're a restaurant with takeout food, how could you display all your food on your Instagram?
And you know
feed
what? That's what you call, if it's too much for them, you just say, okay, well, let's negotiate. Like, what is fair for you?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Okay, you can only afford $200 a month. Okay, well, maybe I'll just do a little bit less. I'll only do 10
Exactly.
hours a month or something like that.
Yeah.
And then you go down the street and then you pick up another client that's got, and then when you go into this second client, potential client, I should say, you say, hey, I'm already helping out Jess up the street, and you're speaking to Tanya, and Tanya's like, oh, I know Jess, cool. And then you have that, and then that makes it that much easier to get. We did this shit all day long with Bull Group. It's like, oh yeah, we're in Lassen's and you're Erewhon, so obviously you typically be the vice versa. But anyway, it's like, oh yeah, Mike picked
Store
it
up
up
the
down the
street, just picked it
road.
up, yeah.
So like obviously
Oh,
you
Mike,
don't
I'm gonna get him.
you don't want Mike to have better products than you, Josh, and so
Or better
stuff like
social
that would
media.
happen. Right. So that's, again, this is like practical advice that you can implement right now to have like a service-based company. And then like, it's obviously you have to deliver results. That's just like step one. But sometimes we're just reminding you all like options that are out there. Like it doesn't matter to us what exactly you want to do. We're just here to remind you
Just
that
think
it
about it. Yeah.
exists.
Start thinking
and
about
think
stuff
about
you
it.
can do. Yeah. In
Right.
this time.
Exactly.
On that note, I mean, do you think there's going to be anybody like that just got laid off that'll be starting companies right now? And if
Absolutely.
so, like, I wonder what kind of companies are going to be opportunistic
Yeah.
in the next 6 to 12 months.
Yep.
Like
totally.
obviously, like starting hand sanitizer,
Right.
soap.
Yep.
Products in the cleanliness.
Products in like
space.
video chat and things like
Yeah,
that,
exactly.
like remote work.
I mean, video chat is already pretty competitive.
Dude, I had a
But
fucking.
I think even
baller-
just virtual. You
Yeah.
know what, dude? Something I was thinking about the other day, actually, seeing all these
Oh, yeah.
live performances.
Uh-huh.
I think whoever can
Oh,
make
yeah.
the best immersive live
Yep.
concert experience.
That's
It's
going to be
gonna win.
huge right now.
Yeah.
I mean, Travis Scott is doing that right now. He's doing a world tour through Fortnite.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah.
That's
so
crazy.
this is the tip of the iceberg
Yeah.
for shit like that's going to be going on because concerts are canceled. You are
Events.
not going to
I
be able
think
to go
that's
to
really
another
it, dude. A startup in the event space.
Yes. That
Like,
is
you
where
can
we're
come
going
up
to
with
see
an innovative way to fill that
insane
gap.
innovation.
Imagine how much. Think about how much money people spend on events every year. And
Think
if
of
you
how
just
big of
can't
an
go to
industry
events-
that is right now too.
Yeah.
Like, there is capital in that industry that people need to deploy to survive, but they're not going to deploy it in a dead space.
I mean, think about different events you could hold where it's still like safe.
Socially distant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. We're
That
about
would
to
be a good
see.
startup.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good one, Eric.
Event space.
I think here's an interesting one too. So I spoke to a guy today that I'm trying to pick up as a client, and he does meal prepping, and he just did a rebrand for his meal
Ooh,
prep
that's a
company.
really good one too.
And yes, and he was telling me how he's really trying to reach out to young professionals that are busy and less folks that are like bodybuilders and stuff like that, because typically the audience that gets meal kits
Yeah.
are people that are trying to like get gains or lose weight, and
Yeah, and
he's
moderate.
not trying to be in like the diet space. He's trying to be in like the time optimization space.
Yeah.
And so I'm already, thinking of ideas with him on how, well, I think there are companies like, for example, successful marketing companies that would have all of their employees under one roof any other day of the week. Now all of those teams are going remote. Well, when all of those people were under one roof, a lot of these media companies had like bitchin' offices, like nice amenities, like snacks, food, drink, out the yin yang, video games, blah, blah, blah. How does a CEO of a marketing firm or a tech company create that same culture outside of the business in a dispersed place? Well, maybe one way would be they implement in their budget a meal kit for every employee, maybe like 2 nights a week. So 2 nights a week,
That's a good
you've
idea.
got your, instead of you making dinner, your boss
How
buys
do you
dinner.
keep company culture working
Right.
remotely?
That's another huge
That's
bucket.
a good question.
Absolutely.
We should dive more into that on the next episode.
Yeah, because here's the thing too, like shit, again, we can't reiterate enough, shit is going to be different for a long time. People think that this shit is just going to get back to normal in 2 weeks. Absolutely not. And if you think otherwise, you're really just going to get left behind in like this new economy that we have coming forward.
You gotta figure out what the new normal is
and
on
adapt to
board.
it and create value for it. And so like another good like you're saying on the culture thing, like dude, people are realizing how pointless it is to have an office full of people when you can get the same amount of work done at home. And honestly, the employees are probably happier that way too. I know my roommate that used to have to drive all the way up to Carlsbad and back every day. He had like a 3.5 hour commute every single day.
Oh my god, he's
there and
probably
back.
so pumped.
And he's got a life back now. And he lives and is able to work
He's
from
at
home.
home all the time.
And he's stoked on it.
I
And
bet companies will do work from home days like 1 a week now. I bet a lot of companies will
probably
do that.
he was already doing that.
Oh,
And
really?
so I think that as a business owner, you're gonna realize how much you don't need to pay that rent for that space too to lean out your business that much more.
Yeah, you
And
can have a smaller space, more remote employees.
right, and then use that money to create company culture in fun, innovative ways at home. Like again, imagine if you worked from home all the time and your boss bought you dinner 2 or 3 nights a week, or bought you lunch 2 or 3 times a week, or bought you breakfast 2 or 3 times a week,
Just
and it was
mailed it to you.
and it was
That'd be
mailed
sick,
to you,
Yeah.
and it was a super fun experience, and you got it, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe company breakfast, virtual breakfast becomes a thing, like
Interesting. Yeah.
there's
Or like get your kids on, your dog on, your
Right.
cat on.
right.
Whatever
And
it
so
may be.
childcare might be another like interesting space where schools are gonna, because that's another thing too. Like I've heard how schools a slow way for them reopening is gonna be like half the class half the day, half the class the other half of the day.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so it's like there's all sorts of like different things. I don't want to. We're kind of going on a good
Yeah, I think we
note.
should wrap this one up.
But
here.
yeah, we should wrap it up. But anyway, you guys get the point. And so, obviously, we'll kind of be. I want to hear more ideas that you all might have. So, like, obviously, hit us up.
Yeah.
If you've got any,
Leave some comments.
Cool things that are coming up on your side of town. And then if you want any insight from us, obviously, we'll hit you back. No
Yeah.
prob. So anyway, that's April 22nd, 2020. That's what's going on. So thanks for listening.
Cool.
Stoked to see you guys soon, and we'll catch you on the flip.
See you on the next episode.